So like sometimes stuff just kind of happens to me that it seems like it seems too ridiculous, almost like I'm doing a bit. Like I'm telling you something that's not there's no way it could be true, but it actually is. So I started running recently and like I'm saying that like I'm not a good athlete or even an average athlete, but I started running again and when I run I have to do the same thing over and over again so I can slightly improve upon it. And last week I went for a run, right, like at the park, and I come around the corner and I hear this voice like from across the street going like, "Hey!" And I look over and there's like an old woman on her porch. She's in like her 60s and she's like, "Can you see me?" And like that's a little bit weird, right? And I'm like, "Yeah, I can see you." And she's like, I just wanted you to know that you're a big inspiration because I've been seeing you running and I just did 2 half marathons. And I was like really flattering in the moment, but when I thought back on it later, it was like how out of shape do you have to be for like a 65-year-old woman to like watch you and go like, I really need to get my life together. Like I need to get into better shape and so yeah, like I ended up taking it as like it almost kind of hurt the more I thought about it. But anyway, that's like a completely random. Edwin, how you doing, man?
I think I'm doing better than you, brother.
Okay. How's the week treating you?
It's treating me good, just working, grinding, trying to make the last push for the last 7 days of the Ace Volume 2.
Yeah, you got the last week coming up. See what's going on with the chat. We have Shadow Hawk with his weekly pop in. We got Mrs.
Hello.
Good Stuff.
Hello.
We got Arrogant 8 asks a really good question. Best soundtrack. Are we talking original scores too? We'll get into that when we get into the top 5, but that's a really good question. I guess because it's like, what does that mean? Like, do you sit down and actually listen to like a Hans Zimmer score?
Some people do, man. They're like they're psychos about their scores, man. I can't. I barely listen to soundtracks, so going trying to give you the best scores. Nah, brother, that's out of my league. But you're welcome to get on with on this channel and do the best scores if you like.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Yeah, it seems like there's only like 3 composers in Hollywood that just do everything. Running in your jeans or sweatpants? That's disgusting.
Hopefully shorts. Yeah.
All right, so you have the last week coming on. First off, how has your campaign gone? Like, because this is number 2. I think you and I have done a couple shows together. Like, how are you finding the campaign now versus your first campaign?
There's pluses and minuses out of both. I think this one got off to a stronger start. It's kind of hit a bit of a wall, but I think it's getting more competition over the last couple of weeks, so it's kind of expected.
Are you absolutely sick of the grind yet?
No, I've kind of learned to pace myself more during this campaign than the first one. I really kind of just hit the wall after 30 days. I was just on fumes for the second 30. So this one I've kind of learned to you can't stream every day. You can't try and push every day. So just take a couple of days off and then recharge your battery. So it's been a little kind of easier on the body and mind.
What kind of lessons did you learn between the two campaigns, would you say?
Oh man, everything. I mean, the last campaign was the first time I've ever written anything, first time I ever created anything. Working with artists, doing the print file, getting proofs, shipping everything out. So everything for the last campaign was just a learning experience. So kind of get everything a little more comfortable this time, kind of learning how to plan ahead and, have that confidence. The last campaign was fully fulfilled on time. So, feel good about it.
Can I run like just a small critique of the campaign page?
Sure.
Okay. So I did the same thing. This is my campaign. These images down here, the one thing that like I couldn't help but notice is like this here, how you can't see how it's like cut off.
Mm-hmm.
I think I might be misremembering, but I think it might have been Bancroft, and I think I'm gonna make this change on the next one. Agreed with just like not including this at all, because it's like the campaign page, I get what they're doing. Like it's formatted like a trailer video, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But comics are vertical, so it just really doesn't, no matter what you do, no matter how you crop it, it just doesn't lend itself to this kind of viewing format. So I think the change I'm going to make is on my next campaign, I'm just not going to do it at all. I'm just not going to have anything up here other than the trailer and have, so that way backers aren't looking at this and going like, oh, well, they made a mistake, or you know what I mean? Like you're introducing them to what looks like an error. And so I think I'm just going to go with the format of just like, just having all the art be down here. So in other words, like instead of having them see this as the first thing they see, just have them, scroll down to see the art.
Yeah, it makes sense.
All right. So can you walk us through the Ace Volume 2?
Sure. So for anybody who kind of missed out, the Ace Volume 1 came out last year. It's the story of a young man, David Diaz, who's trying to find his purpose in life. And one day he discovers the remains of a shooting star. And what he finds in the wreckage grants him the ability to transform into an armored superhero, which he kind of unofficially names himself the Ace. In the first volume has David face off against this alien bounty hunter shark called Akula, who tracks him down and wants the armor for himself. And David's able to outsmart and defeat Akula. And then basically the last panel ends with David putting his blade in Akula's face and trying to figure out, is he going to cross the line to kill him or what? And then kind of hears a voice behind him that yells, "Stop." So that's kind of like the main kind of where we left off in Volume 1. And then Volume 2 picks up right after that. We find out exactly who told David to stop, why, and we kind of introduce a bunch of new aliens and, start kind of expanding the universe a bit. So yes, continuing stories, kind of like a mix of a lot of the 90s comics that I grew up on, books like Dark Hawk, Death Set 2, little mix of Green Lantern, just a lot of different influences and kind of looking to kind of tell those kind of stories of these young kind of heroes trying to find their place in life, but kind of do it with like a more kind of modern way. So that's kind of what I'm trying to do with the Ace.
Oh, nice. Anthony Figueroa.
Well, yeah, he's great. Beautiful piece there.
Nice. Okay, so what would be like your go-to for somebody to pick up? Like I see you have the all-in bundle up here for 70.
Mm-hmm.
That's like the go-to one to get everything, right?
Yep. You get a copy of Volume 2. You get the second printing of Volume 1 with a new cover by Joe Ball. You get the Ace Space print, which is the second image. And then the Anthony Figueroa, that's going to be a metal print. So it's going to be really sweet. We did run for the first campaign with Akula. And, Phoenix Animation sent me a little video kind of showing me a sample of what it's going to look like. and the colors are gonna pop. It's gonna be like a beautiful piece. So yeah, if you want everything, that's definitely your go-to, but we also kind of made put add-ons to everything, so you're able to kind of add on and create kind of your own bundle if you like. You can get stuff separately. You can kind of add on. We kind of make it as easy as possible for you. Giving you different options, some kind of flexibility to kind of put together what you like.
Wow, I just noticed it was 15 US for 30. Okay, never mind. I was gonna say there's some like that's a good deal. 15 for 32.
Yeah, we try to keep it reasonable.
All right. Got the metal print. What's the Slam Buddy?
That's this right here. Anybody who grew up as a wrestling fan in the early '90s know that he had these WWF Slam Buddies. Hulk Hogan, Ultimate Warrior, Macho Man. It was kind of like classic toys back in the day, so it's kind of like my version of it. I found this independent company that does them for local wrestlers, and I asked them if they could do one for Akula, and they said yeah. So
Dude, that's
actually
awesome.
got all these in hand, yeah, and I think there's only 4 left, and they won't be made anymore. So anybody wants them, go get them. Nice collector's item. I think Akula kind of fits that kind of style and kind of is like a fun kind of very kind of over the top, kind of style. And I love the design by 6 a.m. Comics in that one. So yeah, just have a little fun with it.
I like it because there's no 6-pack. In fact, it kind of looks like he has a little bit of paunch.
Yeah, that's how 6 drew him, which is hilarious. So
okay, so my next question is, and this is kind of like my standard box question. It's something I'm always interested to ask creators. And the way I put it is, we're kind of standing on the shoulders of the creators that came before us. So who are those creators for you? Who are the people that really inspired you into getting into the craft of storytelling?
I mean, there were a lot. I mean, when I initially got into comics, it's the early '90s, so big like X-Men fan, Spider-Man. So like to me, Uncanny X-Men, Will Portatio. The storyline with Bishop, just like that whole thing just kind of blew my mind, man. I've never seen anything like that. I remember going to the spinner rack, picking up like an issue of Spider-Man, which is cool. But when I picked up the art for like X-Men, it just blew me away. Like the way Will drew Bishop, Storm, Archangel, really just kind of, those images stuck with me. I was very young. I didn't really understand what was going on. But I just remember just looking over the pages and just looking at every little image, every box, and just trying to take in the art. It was just kind of really amazing. Then, grew up, started to latch on for like Darkhawk was I was a big fan of Darkhawk and, like Liam Sharp with Death's Head 2. And, eventually like discovering like Green Lantern. He was like Jeff Johns fan over like, when he revitalized the character for Rebirth, really just, that's kind of when I got into comics again. I took like a 4-year break around like 2000. Then I got back into it like around 2004 when I heard House coming back, and just remember reading Rebirth and just being blown away by like the depth of the story and just like the little twist, the return of Sinestro, him explaining everything that happened with Parallax. There was so much depth to it. I was just like, I've read that thing so many times. So probably for like as a writer, probably like Jeff Johns is probably my biggest influence. Like I have a copy of he did an issue of Blackest Night. It's called the Director's Edition, and where he has like his full script for the issue, and you see all his notes to the artist and everything, and you kind of get like a snapshot of how Jeff works. And I read that tons of times too, and just kind of like learning how to like how he talked to artists, how he lays stuff out, how he lets it breathe, and kind of like he's got this big kind of arcing story, but he doesn't forget to kind of each storyline that he does has a specific purpose too. You feel like you're getting everything in the issues. You know, they kind of leave you wanting for more. So he's definitely a big influence.
Do you think that your I guess we call it 90s sensibility, because as writers and creators we tend to have to wear a lot of hats. We have to be the director essentially. Do you think that your 90s sensibility kind of carried over into the artwork for the Ace, where it just were you seeking out artists that kind of shared that vision, or were you providing a direction that kind of went in that direction?
No, really, like specific pieces. Like I had like a piece that Mike McMahon did. It was like a print for Volume One. Like that was kind of like my homage to the '90s. But pretty much every artist I've come across with, I'm just a fan of their style, and I want to see what their take is on the character. Like my Sweens, who did Oddities, the one who helped me come up with the design of like the Ace, the initial design, and then kind of Canales when he took over, he ended up kind of streamlining him. So it's been passed around by a lot of different people, and they've all kind of put their little twist on it. And I just like to let them. But like I think like a lot of the influences are pretty obvious. A lot of people will comment about the Mandalorian influences, but if anything, it's basically Darkhawk meets Green Lantern. If you really think about it. And when I say Green Lantern, I mean like the parallax armor that was in the '90s. The big like shoulder pads and like the collar with the symbol. Like all of that stuff is from kind of that.
Yeah, I think in terms of influence, that's generally how I kind of compartmentalize things. It's more about time, eras than anything else.
Yeah, but and like I said, like as far as like influenced by the '90s, yeah, but kind of learning like a lot of the lessons that that some of that stuff had. Like they had some really cool designs and some fun stories, but there didn't really seem to be a plan long term, and that's ended up being like its biggest failure. Like I talk about Darkhawk a lot, and I think that's like the perfect uh, book because I think the first like 25 issues are really good, but it kind of falls off after that.
Mm.
And so it's kind of this idea of like, and even like, I'm generous by saying issue 25 that just kind of ends like they reveal his origin and everything, but issue 25 isn't good. It's, you know, it's kind of a clusterfuck. Uh, but it's kind of ends that story. So it's kind of like a necessary thing. But the idea of like kind of learning those lessons, that's what I always say, like it's inspired by that, but it's kind of has a more modern sense, like I said, like my stuff is more towards the Jeff Johns, like he did like a 10-year plus arc on Green Lantern. He had like a long-term vision, long-term plan. Nothing was like forced or anything. It was organic even till the end. He probably could have told more stories, but it's kind of, the way DC was going, he felt it was time to go. So that's kind of what I want to do with the Ace. I want to have like a long-term plan.
Well, you just spoiled my next question. I was going to say, like, what do you have in terms of a long term plan? Is it just like you have an ending in mind, or do you have like, I guess what you call like the exoskeleton of like the future for the franchise?
Yeah, like I have like a rough kind of outline, but it's flexible enough where if I see something is working or something isn't working, I can kind of pivot. But yeah, like I want to create like towards the different stories. I want to expand not just David's background, but the other characters' background. I want to expand the universe. I want to be able to tell like these kind of epic space stories, but also kind of bring it back down to like a more kind of one-on-one level. And I think, the hope is, like these continue to get funded and continue to do well, and we can kind of keep growing, and maybe I can spin off, instead of doing like one book a year, I can do two a year. Maybe I can do a book and then like do like an ash can to like, you know, kind of advance more story and kind of create more different kind of things. So that's kind of like the plan.
So, I guess we'll call it the scene. Are there any other creators around that you look to kind of emulate or maybe aspire to kind of reach their level?
I mean, I think we all want to be like Brian Polito, you know,
Yeah,
just
sure.
be able to like put out this big volume, tell a story, get it funded on the first day, and then, move on and make sure you have enough money to pay your team and then move on to the next one. But as far as like on a small scale, I hang around with all the hardline guys. I've seen them all come up and then put out books, Phil Diaz, Brandon, Joe Ball, Sim, like all of us have kind of been in the grind together. So, like I'm inspired by these guys, man. I see how hard they work and how much they grind and how good
Yeah,
their
you
books
can
are
pull a
getting.
Joe Ball and just put out like a phone book.
Hey, man, if the East gets funded enough, I don't have a problem putting out 300-page story. It's all about the funds.
All right, so I've done 2 refreshes ever on this show, and inexplicably, both times the totals went up. I don't think I had anything to do with it, but I'll do it anyway. Come on, people. Get in there like swimwear. Noirlem, also similar boat. Jump on it. Links are in the description for both.
All right, go get it.
Yeah, I was saying last week, man, I got off to a rough start because it's done, right? Like everybody has their digital, but this is the first time I've made a book that's actually being put out by a proper publisher. And I was all excited. I opened up a WeTransfer account because the print file is like 100 gig, something like 200 gigs or something.
Mm-hmm.
And I emailed to him, and he emails me back like the next morning is just like, I'm out of the country for 2 weeks. Send it to me then. I was like, damn it. All right. Ace Volume 2. Everybody's going to jump on it. 7 days left. What do you have planned for the last 7 days?
Just a lot of promotion. I'll be on Bancroft's on the last day.
Did you launch on there?
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah, so that was fun. So we're gonna do like a semi closeout. The last probably be like by the time we end, it'll be like 3 hours left.
That was one thing I wish I had done a better job of because my last week, I was so burnt out. I had nothing going on. I think I did 1 stream for that whole week. But
yes, it's tough, and it's also like a lot of people are busy. Like all the channels and promotion things are filling up, so people can't get to you. Like kind of before. So it's just you
have
do
you
what
been
you
on
can.
Shay yet?
Yep. The first week.
Dude, that's nuts, man. They're like booking like 3-4 months out.
Yeah, no, it gets crazy like that. You gotta reach out to those people and see what the windows are.
Yeah, and they're like 2 of the best people around. Okay, so the top 5 for this week that was voted was top 5 soundtracks. I'll go first. I have my number 5 on screen.
Okay.
It's Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? I'm not really into the music style, but it's just kind of an iconic, it's a good listen. And damn good movie in its own right. Edwin, what do you have for your number 5?
So my 5 is a little different. I don't, like I said, I don't have the background enough to tell you about all the different soundtracks and stuff. These are just going to be my personal 5.
Sure.
So these are kind of ones that I've listened to enough where I can actually rank them and have very kind of fond memories of them. So we're going to go with number 5. It's the soundtrack from Mission Impossible 2.
Wow, that's oddly specific.
Yes.
I don't even think that's on here.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Unless you're kind of like into like that kind of, I'm a big fan of the movie. We're in like the first couple of days with a buddy of mine, and we just had like the best time with it. We're big like fans of like the Mission Impossible kind of series and stuff, and they've gotten better each time out. And this one has Limp Bizkit, which is just a theme. Take a look around. It's got Metallica. It's got Rob Zombie. It's got the Foo Fighters. It got Chris Cornell, Godsmack, Buck Cherry. All these bands I've listened to tons of time. It's actually a pretty badass soundtrack if you're into that kind of music. I remember getting like the actual album and just tearing it up for like a couple of months and just kind of having it on playment. It's a really kind of underrated, I think, like track listing. I think it's an underrated movie. A lot of people kind of like dismiss it because of John Woo and stuff. But I think if Mission Impossible 2 isn't successful and it didn't take the changes that it make, I don't think we'd have like the current movies going. I think it needed to change from like what was a tribute to like the TV show and all that stuff. That a lot is this movie's kind of confusing it all over the place as the first one. And I think kind of updating it and making it current and making it really badass. You kind of want it to be Tom Cruise, He kind of found his cool back. And I think the soundtrack and everything around it was part of it. So
that's I think Mission Impossible is one of those series that like I just forget. I forget about, and then I hear that a new movie is coming out because I've never met anybody who like follows it. Like, do you follow it?
I don't, but I've seen all of them. It's like one of those things. They're so watchable. You can just really just kind of sit back and put it on, and I think they've gotten really good. I think like the last couple have been tremendous. So if you haven't watched them, go check them out. And check out the soundtrack too, man.
Well, that's the thing is that I don't have any. I can't say it's a bad movie because the only one that I saw was the first one with like Jean Reno and that older actor whose name always escapes me. And
John Voight.
Yeah, and I remember it being good. I don't know what happened. I just never followed through on it.
Yeah, like I said, it's kind of like a tribute to the TV show. It's kind of like an old school,
legitimately blown away that Limp Bizkit did a theme for Mission Impossible.
Yeah, it's awesome. I'm a big Limp Bizkit fan, so I gotta show them some love.
Did you watch any of the that documentary about Woodstock '99?
Oh yeah, I've seen almost everything on Woodstock '99, man. They were my friends. That was our era, man. I remember watching that, just be like, seeing the.
Oh, I mean the one that came out like a year ago.
Was it like put out by like BBC?
I don't remember. I watched it on an airplane and it was kind of embarrassing because there was like a 10-minute segment about wind flashing. And so I'm just watching it on the seat behind mine and there's just like boobs every 5 seconds.
That's hilarious.
But like the documentary was like, it was kind of ridiculous because they just kind of, they made it seem as if like nu metal was the reason why it was so chaotic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? As if like...
Yeah, everybody tried to blame Fred Durst for doing a typical Limp Bizkit concert.
Yeah, as if like wild stuff doesn't happen everywhere.
Yeah.
What's up, B-Rose? So for my number 4, actually putting together this list kind of had me make a realization about soundtracks because like I don't listen to a lot of them like recreationally. Mm-hmm. But when I do, a lot of the time it's video game soundtracks because I'll listen to like a video game soundtrack and it will transport me to when I actually played that game in a way that like movie soundtracks just don't do that as often.
It's also the repetitive nature, like the Streets of Rage soundtrack. Can't tell you how many hours I spent playing Streets of Rage 2.
Oh yeah, like the Tony Hawk game.
Just like it's seared in my head. It's like just hours upon hours trying to beat the game with each character and just like having the time of my life. So yeah, it's definitely like a different kind of.
Yeah. So then when you hear a song from it, like especially when you actually accomplish something in the game, and then you hear that song again, you're reminded of like your triumph, and it's just nothing. I don't think a movie soundtrack can really compete with that. So my number 4 is the soundtrack to Hollow Knight. Have you ever played that?
No, it's not familiar.
Okay, let me see if I can Share. Actually, maybe I won't because it's like you're not going to hear it, and not like you're going to hear it and have the same connection to it that I am, but it's like super orchestral. It's a lot of chamber music. It uses motifs all over the place, so you end up hearing like the same melody over and over again, but in completely different ways. B-Rose, if you want to jump on here and jump into the list, I'll send you the link.
The B-Rose gotta bring in the anime.
But yeah, just kind of really, it captures mood in a way that's I've never seen another game do.
Would you compare it to a little bit maybe like Castlevania?
At very specific parts, the game itself is actually very much like Symphony of the Night, in that you explore an area and then you can't go any further. So you keep exploring and you find an ability that so you're basically going all over the map and unlocking like sections and using different abilities that you find. Highly recommend it.
All right, B-Rose, stop humping your waifu pillow and get on the stream.
Well, B-Rose, you can put your top 5 in the comments. All right, so what do you have for your number 4?
All right, so this one is the soundtrack for Scream 3.
Wow.
Like I said, a lot of the stuff that I listened to is stuff that I was really kind of into, like a lot of the bands and stuff. So around this era, talking about like Creed, Slipknot, Finger 11, System of a Down, Seven Dust, like I said, Godsmack, Incubus, Dope, Static X, Power Man 5000, like Stained, like all these bands, like super into them. Like I was just like all into that kind of music, all that kind of style. So this was right on
Finger 11.
Yeah.
Dude, I don't think I was convinced nobody even remembered that band.
No, really. This is my era, man. All these random bands who had like one good album or like 2 good songs. I was into all of that. Like remember Dope?
Yeah. Hey, do you remember what was the name of the band? What was the name of the band where the lead singer died and they put out like a compilation album where all these bands like did one song, and I think Limp Bizkit did a song for it, and Fred Durst did like the most inappropriate memorial ever on a song.
I know exactly what you're talking about. I forgot the name of it, but I had that album. Yeah.
Yeah, his song was like, "When you die, you're gone forever." It's like, dude.
2000 for a wild time.
Titans OST Hiroyuki Sawana knows how to blow up speakers. All right.
There we
go. So I went to see Finger 11 and Cold at a club, and the opening band was playing, and I noticed that there was this guardrail thing between the stage and the crowd, and I just kind of walked behind it and just stood there like trying to look like a security guard. So for the entire opening band set, I was just there, and like I knew people in the crowd, and they kept looking at me like, "What the hell are you doing?" Finger 11 takes the stage, and then the real security guards show up. So I'm flanked on either side by a security guard, and I'm just like, "Just look like you're supposed to be here. Just look like you're supposed to be here." And like right in front of me, a fight breaks out. And the security guards on either side of me are like, "Dude, why aren't you jumping in?" I was like, I broke, the facade broke. And like this guy, I'll never forget, he just looked at me and he was like, "You're not even really a security guard." And this was all done completely nonverbal. I was like, "You're not a security guard, are you?" And I was like, "No, I'm not." But like, it was with a look. It was all with a look.
That's amazing. Look, man, sometimes you just got to fake it till you make it, brother. I would have just put them in a headlock and be like,
I'm not there.
Take care of the trash.
Didn't Kate Blanchett win an Oscar for that playing Bob Dylan, or somebody did? Okay,
She might have
first we
been
got to pull up.
nominated.
Okay, first we got to pull up B Rose's Attack on Titan. Hiroyuki Sawano. I'm guessing this is all by this person. Damn. Well, if you want the vinyl on this, it's going to be $200. It's going to be almost $300.
This is where all the super chat money goes.
Yep.
From B-Rose. So every time you super chat him, just remember he's saving up in his piggy bank for this.
Yep. He's buying up the Attack on Titan vinyl on the Smoke vinyl. And I'm not there. Oh, okay. So it's a bunch of different artists and bands covering Bob Dylan songs, I assume. All right. So for my number 3, I have to look it up because I forgot. So this is more like just what I was into as a young lad. But for me, it's the soundtrack to Superfly. Like blaxploitation movies, they're good, but some of them, it was the soundtracks were done by like the same person, and the soundtrack is what ended up becoming way more memorable than the movies themselves. So like if you've ever watched Shaft is really not very good, but that Isaac Hayes soundtrack is what everybody remembers the theme. Yeah. And Superfly is done by Curtis Mayfield, one of my favorite musicians of all time.
Oh, there we go. Arrogant Ape says that was his number 3.
Oh, damn. Both had it for number 3. Yeah, dude, I just love like old soul music, and Curtis Mayfield was just one of those musicians that it was like he died and then he was so forgotten that I didn't know he died until like years later. And because just like he just didn't, I don't think he ever got the respect he deserved. And yeah, Freddie's Dead, Pusher Man, Superfly, just solid.
Oh yeah, man.
All right, so what do you have for your number 3?
Number 3 is the soundtrack to one of my favorite movies, called Belly. You know, as I said, big hip hop fan. So you got R. Kelly's in this. You got DJ Premier. You got DMX, Ja Rule, Method Man, Nas. You got Jay-Z. You got Raekwon, Noriega. Let me see, Dragon. You got Rakim, Gangstar. Like this is for like if you're like a hardcore hip hop fan, like during this time, seeing all the videos and everything, and you're into rap, like this is the movie's like a must see. Like I said, it's kind of like a hood classic, and the soundtrack is like top notch, man. Some of like the top rappers and singers just putting out like a really good album. So
yeah, this seems to be
a lot.
This seems to be really New York hip hop focused.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yep, Belly's kind of takes a look at that kind of like you know, guys coming up from like the hood and kind of making it big and all the dangers that come with it. So
yeah, see, I'm feeling this because I was like I never really liked like West Coast hip hop or Southern hip hop. I was all about like the New York stuff.
Yeah.
Did you ever hear the story, or did you ever hear why like Method Man and Redman were like best friends, but Redman could never be in Wu-Tang Clan because Redman was from, I think, Newark, New Jersey, and they were legitimately like, yeah, no, if you're not from New York City, you can't be in Wu-Tang.
Yeah, it makes sense, especially like back then, like it was more kind of like gang related. So, you know, like each hood had like connections. So each each one had like their own reputation and stuff. So bringing in anybody that wasn't from that area would have been really kind of awkward.
Dude, I legitimately have no idea what B Rose is saying here. I know that's Lord of the Rings, but Braj of Khazad-dum. Like, I feel like he's messing with me.
Yeah. B-Rose, is that even real? Like, you're just putting in words now in the chat, thinking we won't pull it up.
Yeah, there's not that many chats here, so you're going to get found out. Lord of the Ring. Okay, there's got to be like too many.
Yeah.
Now I feel like he's
just messing with us now.
Like, B-Rose, is that real?
Just shameful. Shameful B-Rose. Just derailing this incredible stream right now.
I can't believe you did, I can't believe you would lie on the internet.
That's just outrageous.
That is absolutely shameful.
No more super chats for you, B-Rose.
My number 2, it's like there's gonna be no frame of reference. Undertale soundtrack. It's another video game. Bridge. Oh, he means the Bridge to Terabithia soundtrack. Okay, I get it now. It is the fight between Obi-Wan and Anakin. Tense stuff. Oh, okay. See, if it's Arrogant Ape, I believe it a little bit more.
Yeah, but B-Rose is just... I think he's cheating off Arrogant Ape's list.
Yeah, like he just doesn't have the credibility.
No.
Yeah, so if you've never played Undertale, it was made by this guy who his only experience in video games was he had been composing music for Final Fantasy like fan games, like ROM hacks.
Mm-hmm.
Like just him, and he made this game almost by himself that just became a complete like cultural phenomenon. And the soundtrack like just slaps. And it's probably my favorite video game soundtrack of all time.
Nice.
Whereas Arrogant Ape has Skyrim. Wait, didn't you just say that yours was Superfly?
I think he might have changed it once you put
it in.
Right? He's like, we can't have
the same. I know it's B-Rose.
Tell him.
What do you have for your number 2?
Number 2 is from another called Classic Movie. It's The Crow soundtrack.
Okay, I'm genuinely curious. Okay, no, not Sheryl Crow.
No, not Sheryl. She's not going to be soaking on the sun or whatever, or where the hell that song goes.
Oh, yeah, this is...
Oh, yeah, man. Probably one of those incredible lineup. Yeah, you got The Cure, you got Stone Temple Pilots, you got Nine Inch Nails, you got Rage Against the Machine, you got Rollins Band, you got Pantera. It's just like a crazy kind of mix of bands, but it's really one of those first soundtracks that I discovered. I was like, "Oh, this is dope as hell," you know.
Wow, so you really went from Woodstock '99 to Woodstock '94.
Yeah. I have a wide kind of berth as far as like stuff I like. So yeah, this is a great movie and a great soundtrack, man. Go check it out if you haven't.
Are you going to be gutted when they remake it?
I've already made peace. They're gonna butcher The Crow like they're butchering Terminator. It's just like you can't capture the magic of the first movie. Yeah, let it rest in peace.
Yeah, my kind of feeling on it is that I'm numb to it at this point. I just stopped caring. Anything by Clarice, Japanese Pop Bay.
Now he's into K-pop. Just outrageous. Yeah, here we go.
Tarzan. It's just Phil Collins.
Hell yeah, let Phil Collins rock out with Tarzan.
I actually didn't know that Phil Collins was Tarzan. Sorry, I didn't know games were fair games, so Superfly gets edged. Damn. I'm kind of curious to know, like, it's going to bother me if I don't look. Why is there a capital letter in the last? I don't know if
K-pop.
B-Rose is struggling here. Oh, no, it actually is. Look at this weebery. So this is B Rose's second favorite soundtrack of all time.
Yeah, that makes sense. You probably saw this image and downloaded it instantly.
I almost want to pull it up just to see what it sounds like. And also, is this a soundtrack or? All right, let me see if I can get the channel struck. Pretty sure okay, I think I have to unshare. All right, share screen, Chrome tab. B-Rose, what's a good song to listen to here? Okay, here we go. Pull up Nisekoi up. All right, let's see what this is all about. Can you hear it?
Yep.
Okay, so this is the breakdown. This is the part where everybody gets ready to start moshing again.
Eros is having a one-man mosh in his bed with his wifey pillow.
Yeah, start doing the windmill kicks. Damn, what the hell? Damn, at this point, I really wish I had somebody here to like kick B-Rose or mute him. God damn it. All right, well, I need to cleanse myself, so where is it? All right. Spear of Justice. Yeah, that'll do. Arrogant Abe, I wasn't talking about this nonsense. All right. You know what? This is actually kind of fitting. All right, so for my number one, I keep trying to pause it on the screen, on the streaming screen, and that's nonsense. Okay, so my number one soundtrack of all time is not showing up here. So that sucks. Where are you? Ah, here we are. The movie Dead Presidents. Again, I love soul music, so I think this movie is like one of the most unfairly forgotten action movies of all time. And it just bangs from start to finish. You got Sly and the Family Stone, Isaac Hayes, James Brown, Barry White. There are parts of this movie that like I really specifically remember. Like every time I hear the song, it takes me back to it. You got the Blue Notes, Aretha Franklin, Al Green. You got the OJs, which means you have Curtis Mayfield twice because Curtis Mayfield was in the OJs. and you have a theme by Danny Elfman. Like that's as good as the soundtrack gets for me. How about you, Edwin? What do you have for yours? Oh, wait, we got Twilight Saga. Wait, what?
We've lost all control of the chat. This is why you have to have mods.
I know.
To just time out nonsense. We do that on the
yeah.
hardline a lot. Sometimes we even got to time out other creators because they just get out of control. So, got to run a strict chat here. So, if anybody wants mods,
Well, see, here's the problem. The problem is that Mo won't even show up for my show anymore because B Rose is allowed to do whatever he wants. So, you know what I mean? Like one feeds into the other. Okay, hang on. The Twilight Saga. Did he say a new moon?
Yep.
Okay, Death Cab for Cutie. Tom York. The Killers, Muse. Okay. Nothing I like, but I'll respect it. Eric and Abe, I will look into how exactly you do that because I got to be honest, I don't even know.
Yeah, you have to go on your YouTube channel and then click on them.
Yeah, I'm not doing that with 8 minutes left in the show.
Yeah, but just for future reference.
Yeah, no, appreciate it. I will go hard in B-Rose. Edwin, what do you have for your number one?
My number one is actually a cheat because it's no actual soundtrack of it. It's part soundtrack, part score. It is one of my all-time favorite movies. Features probably the greatest rock band of all time. It is the Highlander score / soundtrack / Queen going nuts on it. So that's my number one. Incredible movie. The songs are, masterpieces. Who Wants to Live Forever, Princess of the Universe. Just two all-time, just great songs, period. And, Queen just doing what they do, man. So, yeah.
Wow, that definitely is a lot of Queen. I had no idea that they were responsible for this.
Oh, yeah. It's an absolute classic. Anybody who's watched the movie, is familiar with Queen rocking out over it. And it's absolutely incredible. One of the greatest combinations of music and movie that go together. They actually, the guys from Queen actually saw scenes and stuff. So they tailored a lot of the stuff like Who Wants to Live Forever. When Heather dies, that's all because Brian May saw the clips of it and wrote that song in dedication. So it's
plus how many albums give credit to Queen and Sean Connery?
Yeah. So yeah. I mean, who hasn't seen Highlander? I mean, if you're any guy that grew up during that era or after it, when the TV series was going on, like you've heard all the songs, all the stuff, and it still holds up, man. Both the movie and the soundtrack. So,
yeah. Eric and Abe, if you worked at the record store that I worked at, it would have been like heaven for you because that's all that got played there were all of those bands that you're talking about. And in some cases, like they would actually come to the warehouse and just do like acoustic shows for employees. So like Silver Sun Pickups came by one time. Cowboy Bebop OST. Okay, let me ask you a question. Since you're a Queen fan, have you ever heard of the band Foxy Shazam?
I can't say it sounds familiar.
If you like Queen, that might be like something that's right up your alley.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see if I can see what I can pull out here. Just wait for it. You'll know when Yeah, that's about the closest I've found to like Freddie Mercury as far as the dynamism and the operatic voice quality.
Now I have to check them out.
Fug SSP, damn. I'm kind of blanking on what that means.
Mm-hmm.
Super short print. All right. Well, I am going to call it a show a little bit early this week. Hope you don't mind, since we're all probably going over to Lord Crackheads anyway. But link is in the description. The Ace Volume 2 in its last week. Noirlem in its last nothing. Make sure you pick it up if you haven't. And we will see y'all next time. Edwin, I thank you so much for coming out. I thank everybody in the chat for hanging out with us. And you all have a good week.
Batman thought he was bad. He was a fucking asshole in the first place. He got knocked to the floor. I whooped Batman's ass! I whooped Batman's ass! I whooped